Hi, I'm Brett from MRT Performance. As the Australian distributors, we are responsible for doing a lot of R&D for Ecutek. Now, Ecutek's a software tuning program that allows us to convert the factory ECU on namely Mitsubishi and Subaru ECUs to allow us to convert them to a fully adjustable ECU. And what you'll be seeing on this edition is how we tune the factory ECU on the Ignition's Project STI. Now that's a MY03 model.
Ecutek is a software program that is downloaded into the factory ECU, which is sometimes referred to as a reflash. It allows full access to the factory ECU and effectively turns it into a fully adjustable unit. The process is broken down into 3 steps: a base power run, installation of the XB kit map into the computer, and then fine tuning. The first thing to do is get the car jacked up, remove the wheels and hook it up to the Dynapack hub dyno. The car then gets a once-over to make sure everything is in good order before performing a base power run. Our STI was making just over 200 kilowatts with only an aftermarket exhaust and front-mounted intercooler kit. MRT set the power target at around a 30 to 40 kilowatt gain, which the STI can handle due to its stronger semi-forged pistons. A boost feed is plugged into the STI's inlet manifold and an O2 sensor is plumbed into the exhaust to measure air-fuel ratio. A camera is also used to watch the tailpipe to look for puffs of smoke during a run, which is a sign of detonation. After plugging in the laptop, it was apparent our STI was having problems with its factory O2 sensor due to it being in the wrong spot in the aftermarket exhaust system. This was causing the engine light to come on and give incorrect readings to the ECU. MRT reset the factory computer to try and rectify the problem, and power rose from 206 kilowatts to 212. The reason the power rose is because the factory ECU was no longer trying to protect the engine.
One of the fantastic features of a Subaru since the MY01 models is they got variable valve control timing on the camshafts. Later models had that both on inlet and exhaust, but on this particular car, the valve timing doesn't necessarily mean huge grunt increase with adjustability, but what it does do, it gives you really good mid-range control and good drivability and makes the car nice to drive and brings it up on boost nice and smooth. So what we need to do is obviously make sure everything is working properly so we can obviously tune it properly and get the right result. In this case, we're going to fix the electronic problem so we can then go back and correctly tune it electronically, knowing everything's working correct.
When you fit aftermarket parts, the increase in power isn't as much as it should be, as the ECU doesn't know the mods are there and pulls back the boost and timing to try and protect the engine.
Of course, the factory ECU doesn't even know that all these things are done, so it's actually already started to invoke its safety settings to restrict the performance of the car. Even though the performance has gone up, it actually hasn't gone up as much as what it could with this level of modifications. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the factory ECU on one side and its tuning map in line and match that with the modified parts and have them basically talk to each other so they work properly together.
The Ecutek program allows the full potential of the engine to be unleashed. MRT installed the most suitable map from their huge database to save time, which reduces tuning costs. The map pushed power to 224 kilowatts even before any custom tuning was done.
With a factory ECU, when you bring it to one of our tuners, you only get tuned what needs to be tuned to suit the modifications that you've done to the car. So on this particular model car, we don't have to worry about cold start because we know the car starts okay. We'll check it and make sure it's all okay, but we don't need to adjust it, so therefore it reduces the cost. But typically here in Australia, as a rule of thumb, a Ecutek tuned factory ECU is about a third the cost of a similar aftermarket Motec or Tronic or any other high range ECU.
The car was still running a little bit lean, so the Ecutek software was used to tweak the fuel map before increasing the boost. With some extra boost high in the rev range, peak power raised to 235 kilowatts, which is a solid 30 kilowatt gain over what the car had and over 50 kilowatts more than a standard WRX STI.
The fantastic thing about Ecutek is, obviously, huge resources around the world. So this is not just something that's happened overnight. It's been around since 1998. It's got a great reputation and everybody stands by it.
The difference behind the wheel of the car is massive. The initial rush of torque is still there, but now the car pulls hard all the way to redline instead of power falling off. Our next step in the power department is a larger turbo, and we'll also be overhauling the suspension soon as we get our STI ready to attack the track.